Hello, good morning, everyone. Today is meeting two in the course of teaching English to young learners. And today's topic is about foreign language learning at primary level, children development and characteristics. Well, how are you today? I hope that you are fine. You are in very good conditions so that you can participate to this online learning. All right. Before we get started, I'm going to tell you about the goals of today's lesson. Number one is we expect you to be able to identify the stages and characteristics of language development of young learners. And number two, we also expect you to be able to design a lesson plan based on stages and characteristics of the language development. Nah, di sini mungkin kalian juga bertanya-tanya, why I'm always fail? Kenapa saya selalu gagal untuk menyampaikan materi kepada murid saya? Nah, sometimes one of the factors, salah satu faktornya adalah because we also fail to identify their characteristic and the language development. Because somehow the treatment would be different in any stages. As you can see here on the screen, what age can be categorized as young learners? Ketika kalian memutuskan untuk teaching English to young learners, who are the young learners? Here, based on the theory, there are two kinds of young learners based on their ages. The first one is preschool level, typically 3 to 5 years old, and primary level, generally 6 to 12 years old. From these both pictures, can you identify which one is preschool, which one is primary level? Which one? On the left. Yes, the left is preschool. You can see them. They're so much younger. They use different kind of colors in their clothes, and they also laugh a lot. They like to explore and some other things. And here, on the right picture, here are primary level students. As you can see them, they are so much taller and younger than the previous picture. So these are primary level. Kalau kita di Indonesia, primary level itu adalah kelas 1 SD sampai kelas 6 SD, yaitu usia 6 sampai 12 tahun. Sementara preschool adalah anak usia 3 sampai 5 tahun. PAUD gitu ya, atau TK. Nah, I have this video. While you are watching the video, I expect you to give your opinions about the characteristics of young learners can you observe or learn from this video. What is the video here? What is the video is about? About a teacher teaching which age of these learners, whether it's preschool or primary. Yes, that's preschool learners. Let's take a look how the class is organized by these teachers. And you can observe what are the characteristics of the preschoolers. Okay, I will open up the word cloud here. And while you are watching, you can give what we call words. Okay, are you ready? Right, thank you so much. And here, from your opinions, we can summarize that there's some key points that you can learn. The first one is fun learning, and they like to playing around. Some of you say that. Beberapa kalian juga bilang playful, cheerful, fun, happy. Yeah, that's one of characteristic of young learners. For overall, dari word cloud tadi, kita coba lihat apa yang sudah kalian submit here. Most of you say, "Oh, it's excited. and is cheerful, is happy, is expressive. All is right. Let's go here. And here, the second video is the teaching in the classroom too, but different level of learners. Can you guess which level are they? Yes, they are primary school level. Which age? Can you remember which age are the primary level students? Yes, that's right, 6 to 12 years old. And here, the same as the previous picture, I expect you to guess or to use your background knowledge about the characteristic of young learners. Can you observe or learn from this video? This is a video about a teacher, an African, I guess, but in the video, if I'm not mistaken, he also mentioned that he's from which part of the country. Yeah, you can tell later when the video is played. All right. While you are watching from this YouTube, you can give opinion in word cloud from class point here. What do you think about the video? What are the characteristics? Okay, wow, a lot of you give opinions about the characteristics. Pay attention to the teacher, fun and learning, mimicking, students are busy themselves, that's right. Interact with sounds media, engaging, learners do not speak. Alright, some other factors we can see here, probably. The characteristic of young learners depends on the background of their environment. In the previous picture, you can see, not the picture, okay, the video. Here, the teacher are Westerners. The teacher is Westerners, while the student are also Westerners, or I mean, growing up in Western countries. But in the second video, as you can see, the teacher is um, from Africa, which probably yang mana kadang-kadang punya cara tersendiri atau style sendiri dalam mengajar dan belajar, while the students are Asians. Mereka adalah Asia di Cina ya, di Cina, right? Dan itu juga akan mempengaruhi karakteristik dari mereka juga. Nah, kita akan pelajari nanti, right? Here, thank you so much. Yeah, you can see here the students are interactive, responsive, and penurut. Penurut, okay. Di video sebelumnya, anak-anak yang tinggal di Eropa, mereka lebih agresif, mereka lebih apa ya, lebih aktif dalam pembelajaran. Sementara di Asian, di China students, mereka lebih penurut, lebih hormat dengan guru, lebih mengikuti instruksi begitu ya. Jadi we can talk about them too. And here are the the differences of characteristic. Preschool and young learners, based on their cognitive development, language development, and social and emotional development, physical development, and what else can you see here? Learning style, that's right, learning style. And what else? Metacognitive skills and social environment, right? As you can see here, we start from cognitive development. What are differences that are very bold that you can classify? What's that? Yeah, that's right. They are more egocentric. It means they have limited logical reasoning. Most of them always want to get attention from the teachers. Misalnya kayak kalau kalian ke sekolah, lalu siswanya bilang, saya bu, lihat saya bu, gitu ya, tolong saya bu, saya miss, saya ma'am, gitu. Atau coba lihat saya, gitu. They need validation. While the young learners or primary learners, primary level learners, they understand the concept, They try to understand figurative language and humors too, and they have logical thinking, problem solving, and even they can function. The class function improve. All right. Okay, let's go to the next slide. And here, the major child development theories. This is just what is this? The description or the picture of what we have learned from the previous table. Nah, selain the development, language development, we also the development in general, kita juga akan mengetahui tentang the stages of speech and language development. From the birth, dari usia 0 sampai 18 months, where their language development improve so rapidly. Okay, let's see here. There are some added factors like listening intention, understanding, speech, sound, and talk, and social skills. Can we make it bigger? Make it bigger? No? Okay. It's okay. Maybe here. Not as well. All right. Okay, let's go to the next. And even until 5 years old, and this is a language development pyramid where if you have learned about language acquisition in psycholinguistic, you can also aware about this language development pyramid where there are some stages of the language acquisition, starting from looking and listening. So this can also apply to you when you start to learn language. And then the second one is play, and they start to understand in the first, in the third stage, and then they start to talk, and until they can acquire the pronunciation and even can produce the language. And here the whole process somehow needs what we call interaction. Itulah kenapa ketika banyak orang tua mengira bahwa anak-anaknya bisa belajar bahasa hanya melalui YouTube atau kartun atau video berbahasa Inggris. Jadi anaknya bisa otomatis berbahasa Inggris, which is not always true. Somehow in language development, di perkembangan bahasa itu, they need interaction. Mereka butuh interaksi. Now, interaction happens with the stages of this pyramid, right? So, but it's not complete when they can only looking and listening. They will fail to produce. Jadi untuk melengkapi produksi bahasa anak itu dan pemahaman bahasa mereka, kita butuh interaksi selain paparan or exposure. Okay, let's go to the next stage. So this is the language development. As you can see, from birth to 5 months old, they try to sound. Like this would probably say without the certain meaning, or probably we don't always understand what they say. They would say like, when they say dads, they will say like, duh, 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 like, oh, or probably just gesture like smile, something like that, or cry. They don't really produce the language that has meaning. And the second stage, when they start um, to be 5 or 12 months old baby, they try to produce the syllable. It's like they start to bumbling, like ba ba ba. When they say mom, they would say mama, or when they like say bye bye or ball, something like that. Okay, they start recognizing simple words, even though it's not really completely produced well, like other language speakers, other language users. And next, in 12 to 18 months old, they start to understand, but the words is limited only maximum 190 words, and they can produce maximum 112 words only. And until they're almost 2 years old or more than 2 years old, their metalinguistics develop. They try to understand everything figurative language. For example, even simple sentence like open the door, or they would say stop crying, something like that. And even until 18 months old, they start to make a sentence like dad sleeping or a complex sentence. Oh, I miss the stages. It's just supposed to be sentences first and then metalinguistic at the end. So what should we do as language teachers when we want to teach English to according to their development stages, considering the stages, whether it's development in general, the brain development, or also the language development. We can consider the cognitive development and also language development from early age. So what is um, the best method? The first one, of course, that fully recommend and mostly recommend by experts in teaching English to young learners is TPR, or total physical response. So help them learn by allowing them to move a lot. So by moving, involve or engage to our learning. Jadi ada istilah bahwa jangan membuat mereka merasa belajar, tapi get them play, biarkan mereka bermain, seolah-olah bermain itu adalah kegiatan belajar begitu. They don't know study or learn. Mereka tidak tahu tentang belajar. Oh, saya belajar, tapi mereka hanya taunya saya main gitu. Padahal hidden purpose, tujuan tersembunyi kita adalah supaya mereka belajar. And to get them play in the certain age, to get them learn in the certain age is making they play. Okay, let's go here. Jadi physical movement, instead of say jump adalah lompat atau clap adalah bertepuk tangan, lebih baik instruksikan mereka untuk mereka juga bergerak secara fisik. And the next one is I say play-based learning, make the learning like a play. Jadi sambil belajar bahasa, sambil juga mengemas pembelajaran itu, baik di kelas maupun luar kelas, dengan bentuk permainan. And the next one is visual aids. Don't forget to use flashcards or any materials or any media that make their visual work kayak gitu ya. Jadi buat mereka bisa melihat sesuatu atau bukan menonton sih, maksudnya membantu visual mereka. Oke. Untuk membuat yang abstrak itu menjadi konkret. Jadi mereka tidak tahu, tidak bisa membayangkan. Coba bayangkan mobil misalnya. They cannot imagine that gitu ya untuk usia mereka. As we have learned in language development. Tapi buat mereka memahami tentang objek itu dengan mempresentasikannya, jika tidak bisa bawa langsung mobil-mobilan, it's just like probably I have something here. Where did I put the car? Look, an object. Wait a minute. I think there's something like something that I've got. Oh, this one. Jika misalnya tidak bisa menampilkan objek ini, membawanya ke kelas, kalian bisa menampilkan gambar, right? Jadi kita tampilkan gambar, bukan hanya ceritakan, but show. Okay. And next one is repetition and routine. Jadi nggak bisa sekali terus mereka langsung dapat, tapi kita need a lot of repetition. Jadi hari ini probably they don't remember and your method doesn't work. Probably you can try next day. Dan mungkin ada rutin setiap awal pembelajaran gitu ya, diberikan kegiatan yang sama so that it can make it a routine and I think they will comprehend the language faster. Okay, and the next one is ketika mereka older, ini tadi untuk young learners dari usia 3 sampai 7 tahun. Tapi sewaktu mereka older, mereka lebih tinggi tingkatan usianya, kita bisa memasukkan task-based learning di pembelajaran. Jadi berikan mereka tugas, terus bisa role play, lalu juga interactive group work. Mereka sudah bisa bekerja dalam grup, gitu ya. Mereka bisa berdiskusi atau memperdebatkan sesuatu, atau membangun project, membuat sesuatu, gitu ya. Dan kita juga bisa menggunakan cerita-cerita atau drama atau imaginative writing, gitu ya, untuk membuat mereka terstimulasi imajinasinya. Atau juga bisa menggunakan scaffold learning. Dan untuk semua ages, untuk semua usia dan juga level of language learners or young learners, kita bisa gunakan visual, auditory, and kinesthetic method. The visual is, as I have told you before, it's about giving them something to see, gitu ya. Kasih mereka sesuatu yang bisa mereka lihat. Lalu auditory is like integrate something with something rhyme, sesuatu yang bernada, like songs or other listening activities. And the next one, make them move. Selanjutnya adalah yang juga always work for all is technology interaction. Jadi gunakan teknologi, bisa software atau gunakan games yang digital atau read dan yang secara digital gitu. Dan I'm sure that for alpha learners it will always work. Alright. This is also a thing that you also have to consider. Make sure that your learners you can create supportive and encourage when feedback like oh good job, oh don't worry it's fine, gitu. Ketika mereka bikin kesalahan, you can try it again, atau juga bilang thank you for trying, atau good job, atau oh you did a very good job, something like that. Nah, selain itu, kita juga bisa bikin classroom routine dan prosedur yang konsisten. Misalnya, setiap mulai kelas, kita bisa mulai dengan menyanyi dulu, gitu ya, atau membaca dulu, atau apa yang rutin, dan ada prosedurnya. Selanjutnya adalah jangan buru-buru menjudge mereka salah atau menjudge mereka bad dan sebagainya. Tapi jadikan kesalahan-kesalahan mereka itu sebagai pemicu mereka untuk mencoba lagi gitu. Jadi ini tergantung dengan bahasa kita juga ya. Kita bisa bilang seperti oh nggak apa-apa, nanti kita coba lagi besok ya gitu dan sebagainya. Oke, selanjutnya kita juga harus memperhatikan their the variety of their abilities and learning paces, karena semua orang punya stages yang pembelajaran yang berbeda-beda. Dan gunakan juga informal assessment melalui observasi, gitu. Jangan meminta mereka untuk misalnya bikin pilihan ganda dan sebagainya, tapi bentuk-bentuk penilaian itu juga harus disadari ada berbagai jenis. Dan of course, gunakan adapt teaching strategies. Okay. Right. Selain itu, kita juga bisa mengenalkan budaya-budaya English speaking countries atau negara yang berbahasa Inggris. Karena bagaimanapun ketika mengajarkan bahasa, kita juga bisa mengajarkan budaya. Right? Kita bisa bangun kelas kita misalnya Thanksgiving. Jadi kita di kelas mengajarkan bahasa Inggris, terus bikin suasana Thanksgiving where everyone can bring foods from home, and then we celebrate while sharing our foods or exchanging our foods to our friends, and we enjoy our foods together while we thank our God for giving us good things in life, gitu. Selain itu juga buat culturally diverse materials based on student background. Jadi bukan hanya misalnya material kita berisi tentang mayoritas tentang situasi orang Jawa misalnya, tapi kita bisa variasikan misalnya situasi orang Sumatera atau orang Dayak atau orang Kalimantan gitu ya. Jadi put your cultural diversity. Next is the quiz. So make sure you join the class point. Okay, you already joined that. And you will given time about 30 seconds to answer this multiple choice questions. Okay, you ready? Let's go. Number one, number two, number three, number four, number six, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. Okay, good job. Thank you so much. Oh wow, Yola, you got a first place. Then second place is Agi, and third place is Oliva. Thank you so much. And for the next week, I will give you a task to watch this video and relate this to the lesson you have learned today. Okay? You can choose whether this video or this video. So you reflect to what you have learned today by watching this video. And after that, we can do group project. I will divide you into group and you can make lesson plan development. This is the instruction. And to end our lesson today, I want you to upload your image. Jadi kalian foto dulu dan kalian foto dulu dan kalian upload foto di class point. Okay, thank you so much for today and see you next week. Right. Terima kasih Pak Eko sudah memberikan kesempatan kami untuk mengaplikasikan apa yang sudah kami pelajari di kelas. So, di pembelajaran ini saya menggunakan class point yang sudah saya subscribe dari beberapa bulan yang lalu ketika pelatihan penggunaan teknologi in learning oleh PPG beberapa waktu yang lalu, dan saya sudah menggunakan itu di hampir semua kelas saya, dan saya merasa sangat efektif untuk menarik minat siswa untuk engage to our material, untuk terlibat aktif dalam pembelajaran di kelas. Okay, I think that's all. Thank you so much.